Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few new things. We have the new Valentino purple studded spike lipstick. Here in the US, I've only seen this particular shade, which is this is 605R, which is Lilac Rain. But if you're looking for the other shades that you may have seen in promotional photos from Valentino, Selfridges does carry some other shades in this limited edition purple packaging. We also have the new Lancome liquid eyeshadow in Lavender Latte. This is number 10. And we're also going to be taking a look at the Rabanne Cheek Duo. These are the mini blushy palettes. I have two of these. I've actually used them on and off for the last, I don't know, it's been about 2 months now, at least. So I have thoughts on these. Let's go ahead and we're going to start off. Let's start off with the blushes. So first off, packaging for the Rabanne mini blushy palettes. We have this. We do have little notches here that, you know, they sell that chain that you can wear these. So you can actually thread something through here if you'd like. You have a little click closure. It is a fingerprint magnet, but you also have reflection. So if you're taking this with you, you can use that. We also have a mirror inside. And this one here is Mean Girl Club. So these are cream blushes and these are both going to be matte shades. And let's go ahead. You kind of have to break the seal a bit on these. They're kind of firm. If you just touch it right away, you might not even feel that it's a cream product until you kind of dig in a little bit. So this here is the matte pink shade in Queen Card. And then we have Frenemy here, which is more of a vibrant orange with a touch of coral in it, but it's more orange than coral. It's a nice fiery shade. This is the shade Frenemy. So again, this duo is called Mean Girl Club. And then we have this one here, which you can see I used this one the most. This is called Summer Fling for the duo. And we have this matte shade in Stolen Kiss, which is a bright fuchsia pink. And you can see both of the pinks that I have here are going to be a bit cooler. They're going to be cool pinks, but the lighter pink in Mean Girl Club is going to be a little cooler and icier than this one here, which is, again, Stolen Kiss. And then this shade here is a pearly finish. This is called Meet Me Halfway. Just using a different finger because that pink does kind of stain a little bit. So you can see here we do have a pearly finish. And this one is going to be warm tone. It's kind of like a golden champagne with a touch of orange. And these are the 4 shades that I have in the 2 duos. So I did not do cheek swatches for each of these, but I do have some demos. So let's take a look at these. So as I mentioned, I have used these on and off for the last couple of months. I don't really like them. And that's why it's taken me so long to actually feature them on my channel, because I really wanted to try to get them to work a little bit better. Honestly, they go on fine. The formula itself, like, it feels fine. It's going to be, once you kind of dig in and break the seal on there, you know, it's a softer cream, but you do kind of need to mush it up a little bit to really get it to be kind of creamy and easy to use. You want to work it into the bristles of your brush. And my problem is that these just don't really seem to last all day. So, you know, it kind of fades, and I just feel like they're not worth it. They're a little bit, for a cream product, it's a little bit finicky to use because you do kind of have to break that seal. And even once you break it, it's almost like every time you go in to use it, it's a bit firmer again. You really have to warm that product up every time. Once you warm it up, it has a little bit more of an oilier, creamy texture to it. But I find it's just not great. And the fact that it fades, I feel like there are just better products on the market. So, you know, for me, I just think that these aren't worth it. According to Rabanne, these are long-lasting color blushes, and they come in either vibrant matte or ultra pearly finishes. They're a lightweight and non-sticky formula with a buildable balmy texture for naked skin comfort, easily blendable onto cheeks and lips. And I have to say, I have not worn them on my lips at all. It's a vegan formula. It's enriched with shea butter to leave skin looking fresh and rejuvenate it. And perhaps that's the issue. Sometimes shea butter, if you're using like more of a raw shea butter, it kind of hardens And maybe that's why I keep having this issue, you know, texturally. I really have to like warm it up. I feel like I waste a lot of product doing that. And yeah, I don't love these. They are made in Italy. We have 2.4 grams of product in each duo, and we have an 18-month shelf life. So overall, they're okay, but I just don't think they're worth it because there are products that are better than this on the market. And, you know, for something that performs like this, I would expect a lower price point. Not that these are like super high-end expensive, but for the performance, you know, I just don't think they're worth it personally. So one more time, let's take a look at the shades. Again, we have Mean Girl Club here. And I have to say, I do really like the colors in here. I like the combinations, but I just don't love the actual product. And then this second duo here is called Summer Fling. And yeah, honestly, I would have chosen a different shade to go with the this pink here, which is called Stolen Kiss. You know, I think this is just a little bit too warm. So I like them mixed, but I don't really like them like layered, or I don't know. It's just, they're just not great. So I don't love them. Let's go ahead and move on to the Lancome liquid eyeshadows. So I purchased this one a while ago, but I haven't featured it. This one here is number 2, Desert Sand. And I do want to show you the applicator here because you can see we kind of have this well in the middle that makes it really easy. You know, it collects your liquid and it makes it easy to apply with the applicator without getting too much product on. So I think that's pretty helpful. This is kind of a warm golden taupe. So it's not overly warm, but it, you know, their original launch, I think there were 6 shades when it originally launched. They were all very warm. This was the coolest of the shades that had come out originally. Now we have number 10, Lavender Latte. This is really more of a pink. You might have a tiny bit of lilac in it, but not really lavender. Lavender has more blue. And I like these paired together because, you know, this can cool it off. You know, they just kind of come together to make a nice neutral. But I do have a couple demos. Let's take a look at those. And the first demo here, you can see I wore this one all day, the Lavender Latte on its own. And I paired it with a Victoria Beckham eyeliner in jeans, which personally I love that. I think this is a great, easy, light eye look. And then today I have the Desert Sand all over. And then I use the Lavender Latte as an eyeliner to see how that performs because it is actually one of the suggestions for this particular shade. And I think sometimes using a light eyeliner can be something a little different and it can open up your eyes a little bit, you know, just adding a little extra brightness there. So, you know, I thought that was a little bit fun to play around with. Now I do have a wear test where you can see after 10 hours, I have a little bit of mild creasing. I did not use a primer with these. With a primer, I don't usually have any creasing at the 10-hour mark, perhaps maybe later on at the 12-hour mark, but these hold up really well. And honestly, the creasing here is very minimal. I don't consider it an issue whatsoever. And as for product details, we have 7 milliliters of product in these. They have a 6-month shelf life since it is a liquid near your eyes, and they're made in France. Overall, I think these are a really nice liquid eyeshadow. They perform well. I still do prefer perhaps different formulas like the Violette FR Yua paints, which, you know, are a little different than these. Texturally, these are more similar to the Armani eye tints, and I think I do prefer the Armani formula a little bit more. However, I really like this applicator and the way that it performs. So let me just show you. I take this. This was the brush I used for the eyeliner today, just to kind of scrape off some of the product. You can see that it's just like a soft well in the center. So you can gather some product there, but you're not getting globs of it, which can be an issue sometimes with liquid eyeshadows if you're using the applicator for application. You know, sometimes you just end up with too much and then it's like something you have to deal with. And I do really like the applicator on these. I think it's nice. I think it's a nice formula as well. All right, just a few quick comparisons. I don't have necessarily similar shades, but just for formulas, this is the Armani, and you can see we do have a nice angular applicator here. This will give you a little bit more product than the Lancome, but it's actually, you know, pretty good about it as well. And this is number 18M. And you can see this one here is going to be a matte formula. I just find that it wears slightly better on me over a long period of time, but honestly, they're both really good. Then we have SUQQU. This is number 8, Stardust, which is one of my favorites. I would say that the wear on this is actually comparable to the Lancome. I would say, you know, this actually can go a little bit, it can go pretty sheer, and I feel like the Lancome can as well, and you can really build those up. So they're pretty similar. And then we have Pat McGrath. This is Twilight Platinum, which is my favorite shade from her. I actually think her liquid eyeshadows are underrated. These are really good, and they stay put really well. They resist creasing on me very well, and they're a bit more opaque than the Lancome or the SUQQU. Those can go a bit more sheer than the Pat McGrath. You're still getting a thin layer of product, but they're just a little bit more pigment mixed into that. And then Lisa Eldridge, this is the shade Cressida, and I really like her formula here. This feels very silky. I would have to say that the formula on this actually feels a little bit, it looks a little silkier, like a little more finely milled than that of the Lancome. But the Lancome does actually last just a smidge longer on me without creasing than Lisa Eldridge. So that's something to note. And then the VLFR, the Yo paints, they come in a shimmer or a matte. This is one of the shimmers in Scarabée d'Or, which is my favorite. These are very, very thin. They do kind of smell like straight up paint, like you're painting your wall. But in my opinion, these perform the best out of all liquid eyeshadows I've ever used in terms of creasing and performance overall. So these are just a few quick formula comparisons. Let's move on to the Valentino. Now today I have the Valentino on top of the Tom Ford Sugar Glider. I've actually been wearing this for a few days. I really wanted to get my thoughts on it because I have to admit I was a little disappointed at first, but I do really like it now. I also use the Sephora lip pencil that unfortunately is discontinued, but I really hope they bring this one back. This is going to be the shade Bellflower, number 25. So definitely think it's totally worth asking Sephora to bring this one back. So let's take a look at the Valentino lipstick. The packaging here you can see is stunning. So it's just going to be a purple version of your normal spike studded lipsticks, which personally I really like those. I think they're a nice matte lipstick. Now here in the US, as I mentioned, we've only seen the one shade. I do have some glitter kind of left over from those eye swatches, but this is going to be a glittery shade as well. This is 605R, and you can see how sheer it is with one layer versus building it up. So you can definitely wear it on its own with several layers and you get some color. You get a little bit of a light lilac, and the shimmer in here is going to be a little bit more like golden pink. You've got a little bit of gold and some pink in there. So you can definitely wear it on its own, and I've done that. You can also use it as a topper. So it is pretty versatile. Let's take a look at the lip swatches here. And I have to say, when I first received it, I was a little disappointed because in the photos where they're showing like the models wearing it, I'm not even sure if it was just this shade, you know, but they had the photo with this particular product. And as I mentioned, this is the only shade we have here, but you know, it just looked more pigmented. It looked more like what I have on now with the Sugar Glider underneath. So I was expecting, I knew it was shimmery, but I was expecting it to have a little bit more of an opaque base to it, a little bit deeper base. And unfortunately, it is going to be very light, very sheer. And when you use it in just one layer, it actually looks a bit warmer because I think you're seeing a bit more of the sparkle in there. The sparkle, the shimmer particles are actually going to be a little bit warmer. Again, we've got some gold and we've got some pink in there. And when you layer it up, and you have several layers, you actually get more of a cooler tone lilac hue to it. So I do think it's a really pretty shade. I really do like it. But when I do have to wear it, you know, put on several layers, I do feel like I'm using quite a bit of product sometimes. So I'm not sure how long this will actually last if I continue doing that. But personally, my very favorite way to wear it is how I have it today, paired on top of Sugar Glider from Tom Ford, which I really hope they bring that back. You know, I'm almost out of mine and I love that shade. So I'm still hoping. So anyway, let's take a look at this just one more time. So this is 605R. And again, I just thought it was going to be a little bit more opaque. This here is Tom Ford Sugar Glider right next to it. So you can really see how well those colors go together. And actually, when you have Sugar Glider next to it, you can see that Sugar Glider actually looks a little bit warmer than the Lilac Rain shade does. And when you pair them together, I think it's like kind of the perfect complement. Now, I haven't received the new Guerlain lip balms yet, but I did order them. They don't have a purple though. This one here is Lavender Glow from the original line, and I wanted to show you how that compares. So we don't have the shimmer in there, and you can see that this is a little bit cooler. We also have more of a balmy feel to it, but you can see the level of opacity is going to be pretty similar to a tinted lip balm. So just something to know. I don't really have any other comparisons for this particular shade, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how this will perform on the lips. And I have to say, when I first opened this up, I did note that it smelled a little fruitier to me than the original Spike studded lipsticks. So they do still have like the same base scent to them, but this one I just smell a little bit more fruit. And yeah, you know, honestly, I don't really notice it now, but the first couple times I used it, it was something that I noticed. And I was worried that the glitter in here might make it feel gritty, especially layering it on so much, but it really doesn't. It's very finely milled, so no issues with that. Even after it's worn off and I reapply later, you know, and now I have like even more glitter, it's still not an issue for me. So hopefully this has been helpful. Just a quick summary of what we talked about today. We started off with the Rabanne Mini Blushy palettes, and I have to say they are duos. I like the colors, you know, I like the concept, but I don't love the particular formula in these. I find it to be a little firm at first, and it requires warming up, but I feel like I end up wasting product going through that process, and they don't last throughout the day. You know, they do fade. So I don't love them. I don't recommend them. Then we took a look at the Lancome liquid eyeshadows, and I do recommend these. I think they are a nice formula. I particularly really like the applicator, and they wear really well throughout the day. I do think that overall their line skews very warm, so it's nice to have a new, you know, lighter, it's more of a pink shade than a purple shade, but I'd like to see them expand that cooler side of the range. And overall, I think that's a nice product. And then we took a look at the Valentino, and I love the packaging. Since purple is my favorite color, I had to get this, and this will definitely be one that lives in my handbag until I think I'll use this one up. So, you know, it's great as a topper, or it's great on its own, but it's really more of a softly tinted sparkly lip balm than an actual lipstick. And this, you know, the ones in the gold packaging, you know, they're more of a matte finish. This is a little bit creamier, more satin, balmy type texture. Not as thick of a balmy texture as you might expect from a tinted lip balm. So it's definitely still more in the lipstick category in terms of how it feels on your lips. But performance wise, it's definitely equivalent to a tinted lip balm with some shimmer. So I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to know if you tried any of these, what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you very soon. Have a great day.